Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we are going to be talking about short creating synthetics, the 1.2 million synthetics used by brokers, paying for market holds, and many more in this video. Firstly, we're taking a look at this. What we can see right now is from Samuel saying something is off with these equity contracts / futures contracts as they are identical within this Fidelity ETF. Almost as if they are rehypothecating shares with contracts and futures. Stonks are nearly 100% lent out as well. Now, this is in regards to the ETF that we have actually talked about before. And this is the ETF that is including AMC and which has lent out 98% of the AMC shares within this ETF. But more about this is that we've known that these shares can be used multiple times. And so even if we take it as an example, if there's only 100 shares in this ETF, they can actually use this 100 shares multiple times and short it by 5,000 shares, by 10,000 shares, by 100,000 shares. And that's exactly what they are doing now as we see them rehypothecating shares with contracts and futures. And something that we have to know is understanding that these high frequency trading firms loved their futures, as you guys can see here with a research conducted. And you can see in the top listed is listed equity and futures. And something that we've seen in the past as well is, does anyone remember when the FTX WSB December 2022 futures ran to 119,000 right after bankruptcy? So something that we know is that these people really love their futures. And again, there's a massive reason for why they are doing this. They're using it to obviously rehypothecate shares, to create synthetic shares so that they can obviously short AMC even more. Now, more on this, and we're going to talk about this later on in this video as well, but we've talked about this in the past. This is the shortable shares at IBKR. What we can see is 1.2 million shares available. So what we have right now is 1.2 million shares available to be used to short against AMC, which is located in IBKR. Now, what's crazy about this is obviously we know right now there is a shortage of shares being lent out towards these firms. But what we've known in the past is that firms like brokerages are able to, of course, falsely print a number of shares so that they can give to these hedge funds to use as a way of locating shares and short AMC. This is something we covered in the past, but also something we're going to be talking about later on in this video as well with another firm. But you can see about how they're trying to give out fake locates towards these hedge funds. And again, this is just another way of them manipulating AMC. And this could also have been done through what we talked about here, the rehypothecating shares with contracts and futures. And again, it's going to be AMC, it's going to be GME, it's going to be the stock that is putting these firms in a very bad position. Now, yesterday, what we talked about was how a short seller was telling people to sell their AMC. And again, it's pretty much the biggest indication and confirmation that short sellers is over. But today we have more proof. So John Hampton was the CEO that we covered of a short firm yesterday who actually asked Ape to sell his AMC shares. And you guys can see this is something he talked about in the past. Bronze has a synthetic share department. If you are ever in Australia, I'll be proud to show you around. And this is something that he messaged to CEO Adam Aaron back then. And what we can also see is this. I'll trade against anyone who so boldly demonstrates their stupidity, but whatever. Again, in terms of talking about AMC. And you guys can see this further on. Yes, not at all hysterical about naked short selling and stock manipulation. And you can see it further goes on to say, market has volatility rules, but really you pay enough brokerage and you get to call volatility holds. It's good to be the king. So this is from a short seller of AMC who yesterday has asked Apes to sell their AMC shares, who in the past have talked about firstly, able to have your own volatility hold and to talk about synthetic share department. So he has confirmed everything we've talked about in terms of shorting with AMC, whether it's synthetic shares or the fact which we've talked about halting AMC so that it doesn't run up. One of the biggest things we've known with AMC is that in the past we've had multiple times where you start to see AMC run, but instantly as it goes up 15-20%, it gets halted. And right after, as the halt is cancelled and it continues trading, you can see that the AMC run up doesn't happen anymore and it actually drops down. And what we've known is that people, the government, the regulations tend to say that this was to obviously protect retail investors. But you can see here, this was actually used as a way of protecting the short sellers because this is something that they get to call on their own by calling a volatility hold. And again, during the volatility hold, what they do is obviously suppressing the price of AMC, is obviously selling off AMC and finding other firms to locate AMC so that they can continuously short AMC. And now it makes more sense of understanding that, again, this was his stance back then on AMC. You guys can see this was made June 2022. And now going into 2024, his stance has changed from, oh, I have a synthetic share department. Oh, I get to call volatility holds. So now asking apes, can you please sell your AMC shares? Now, obviously, everyone is saying a big FU. And again, we all know what is happening right now. This is something that we have envisioned for a very, very long time. And this is exactly what's happening now. And again, like I said, the biggest confirmation that we could possibly get about how shorts are panicking and how it pretty much is over for the short sellers. Furthermore, you guys can see this. AMC's average daily FTD for April was 288,000. For comparison, Tesla was 84,000, Nvidia was 2,000, Apple was 14,000, GameStop was 83,000, HYAMC was 18,000, Cinemark was 3,000. Can't deliver a stock at $3. Interesting, AMC isn't a stock, it's a crime scene. So what you have to know is that the reason for why they are obviously creating synthetic shares, why they're really hyper-creating something we talked about at the start, is because they need some way and form of being able to locate shares, and this is quote unquote locate and or create shares so that they can short AMC. And we've known that with this, we've known that with the ETF that's lending out 98%. We've seen that with IBKR with 1.2 million. And we've seen that with, again, how they have a synthetic share department, about how shorts are obviously doing this. And this is why we're seeing that they can't deliver a stock for $3. Because the reason we're seeing this is that they've created so much synthetics that they are not trading real shares of AMC anymore. That's why there is always a constant excess of AMC FTDs, because there just isn't enough real shares in the market of AMC shares. But yet there always seems to be short positions, yet people are always able to locate shares of AMC and use it to short against AMC. And again, the reason for this is because it's naked shorts, because it's synthetics, and all of this is something that they have done in the past, and it's continuously still doing it even until now. And what we can see is that this isn't going to be a long-lasting game anymore for the short sellers. What we're seeing right now is the struggle. You can see 288,000 daily FTDs for AMC, yet we can see that they have 1.2 million shortable shares at IBKR. Now, a very simple understanding is that if they are able to locate shares this easily for one particular brokerage, remember, this is only for IBKR. This isn't including every single brokerage. This is one particular brokerage who's able to locate 1.2 million shares. How are they not able to deliver shares for AMC, which made it to run to an excess of 288,000? Now, what we talked about earlier with the IBKR issues, and something we talked about in the past, but we're covering it again right now with a different firm, is it is smarter to go after the broker dealers. There's a reason you may not have heard of them before. They are allegedly the enablers, the ones who tell market makers like Citadel and Virtue that they have located shares to trade. DJT has been on the red show threshold list since April 2nd, and securities on that list needs pre-borrowed locates. But did they really get the locates? That's what Devin Nunes wants to know. Do these companies locate the shares for settlement? Noon believes the answer is no. And we've seen this with MMTLP in the past. We've seen this with AMC, GME. We're seeing this with DJT as well. But this is exactly what we're talking about. Firms like brokers are, again, apparently able to locate shares which they give out to these market makers, to these short sellers like Citadel and Virtue, saying here are the shares that you want, use it and short. And this is what we're seeing with IBKR. But what we've known is that in the past, these brokers have very likely fabricated these numbers and they don't actually exist. It is nothing but just a number on the screen for an ease of mind and that they can use to obviously short. But there is nothing in actual fact to back the claim that they actually do have that amount of shares to be used to short. And this is what we've seen with DJT, and again, MMTLP, AMC, GME, these are all victims of what we've seen with the fabrication of shares by these brokers. And so when we take a look at this, it's very likely that the 1.2 million shares here aren't real shares, and very, very likely the synthetic shares of AMC. Furthermore, and I'm interested to hear people's opinion on this as well, is Carvana was $3 a bit over a year ago. They restructured their debt and off she went. Zero reason we won't or can't do the same. Obviously talking about Carvana at $117 right now. And what they did was obviously reconstruct their debt. Another thing that to talk about this is understanding that AMC has a massive retail investor foundation base, and we have people obviously supporting AMC. Now, I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this. Do you guys think that AMC reconstructing their debt and in terms of also going down the same route as Carvana or not? But what we do know is that obviously shorts understand this, that they understand that it doesn't matter what AMC does, AMC is a threat because AMC is not at its real value right now. Whilst restructuring their debt can allow AMC to rise, AMC should be at a higher price anyway. And shorts know this, and that's why they're suppressing AMC. And what we can see is obviously how they're struggling right now. But again, at the end, we are going to beat these shorts. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.